everyone's a little awkward the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then everyone finds their group. But
Yeah,
also
yeah,
this
yeah.
feels a little
I can
sexy
see you
and
through
romantic.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I can see you through. I know other podcasts I've done, it's like a whole, it's a little, it feels more relaxed like this. It's
I
really
want
nice.
it to be more
Yeah.
relaxed. I don't want it to feel like I'm interviewing you.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to talk about your book, but I want to talk about our lives.
Right,
you know?
right.
This is our lives candle. Okay. And then we're going to do TikToks. You can't
The
leave.
branding's on point.
Let's go. All right, ready?
Yeah.
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Village Pod. Today, I have Brooke Taylor with us. Hi, Brooke.
Hi.
Brooke is an executive coach and the author of the upcoming book, Healing the Success Wound. Welcome to the pod.
I'm so happy to be in the village.
And thank you for having us in your beautiful home.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I didn't know my house could look like this.
It looks great.
Yeah.
We're moving in. We love it. Before we dive in, I want you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure. My name is Brooke. I was like, where do I start?
We're a lot of things. We're
Okay.
just tired moms.
Yeah, we're tired moms. I feel like maybe this would frame it correctly. My obsession, probably since I was born, is like I'm an Enneagram 3, which is like the achiever.
I haven't done mine. But
You haven't?
no.
I'm sure you're a 3 too.
Okay.
I'm like almost positive.
We recognize each other.
I've always been obsessed with like work and making a name for myself and like achieving and being the best. And I grew up in Silicon Valley and I went to elementary school with our mutual friend Lauren at like this very preppy all-girls school where I was like a middle of the road student. And that made me feel like I was always behind or deficient or like not enough because I wasn't the best. And so my kind of personal and also like professional quest over these last 34 years, but professionally over the last 10 has been about how can I relate to my work and my ambition from a place of wholeness and enoughness as opposed to always feeling like I'm never measuring up. I'm an 89.5 student. Like I am a B+, almost made it to the A- student. Like I went to the Harvard of Canada. Like I'm always just kind of getting there, but like I went to McGill, which is a great school, but it's like
You
the
did
Harvard
great.
of Canada.
Yeah.
But like I would have loved, you know what I'm saying? So like I just always feel like I'm almost there, but never quite there.
Okay, and we're going to talk about this because I love that concept in your book. And as I was reading your book, I also realized that my own success wound was making my life of a working mom of 2 so much harder than it needs to be.
Yeah.
I feel like it's already exhausting, but my obsession with perfection and with the deadlines I set up in my own head is making my life so much harder than it needs to be. So kind of tying back into that, can you define what a success wound is?
Yeah. The success wound most directly is the pain that comes from mistaking success, productivity, and achievement for self-worth. And it's the underlying belief that our worthiness of love, belonging, safety, survival is contingent upon what we produce, achieve, and do rather than who we are. So for me, my success wound sounded like like success equals love and belonging. Because I so desperately wanted to belong to that Silicon Valley high achiever club, I suppose, but I always felt like I was in 89.5, right?
Yeah.
But for clients of mine or for other people, it's like success equals survival. Like, you know, my client who, whose parents immigrated to California from Korea and they had to make a life for themselves. And so literally success was from survival. For other clients of mine or people, it's like success comes from independence. And so as a mom, I mean, this is huge, but like the thing I've had the hardest time with is that there are no gold stars in motherhood and I can't win anything. Anywhere I'm like thrust into, whether it's motherhood or like a group of people, my first default is like, how do I win this? And then my second default is like, chill out and just connect with people. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And so with kids, I'm like, how can I
this?
optimize and win this? Yes.
How do I win this is like how I live.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Yeah, we walk into a play date. How do I win this play date?
Exactly.
Like, why can't we just freaking chill? I actually, again, reading your book and this conversation made me think of this memory I had. I must have been maybe 4 because I was able to brush my own teeth. So like 3.5, 4, but it's a very vivid memory. I got the stomach bug and I was throwing up all day. My mom was taking care of me, but I remember feeling so upset that I couldn't brush my teeth. Like I couldn't brush it that morning. I couldn't brush it in the evening. I felt like a failure at the age of 4. The next morning I woke up and I felt okay. So I wanted to surprise my mom and I went and brushed my teeth. And as I was walking to her bedroom, I threw up. And I made a huge mess and the toothbrushing gone. I remember sitting in my own puke and crying and my mom came up, like, consoled me. But I remember that I felt seriously disappointed that I failed and I wasn't perfect in my routine as a 4-year-old. So I guess my question is, when do you think, like how early is the success wound formed, maybe especially in girls?
That's a great question. I only know this from my own experience, but also my research. So my own experience, I can relate to that 100%. I remember it would have been some sort of celebrity, like Hillary Duff. I guess it would have been like maybe a little older, or like a Lindsay Lohan or something like that, and was like, I want to be that. Like that's important. Like she's important. She's cool. She has it all together. Like all eyes are on her. And so I was like, oh, I need to be the center of attention, And so I would do weird shit to get attention. Like I had like a seizure. I had a seizure disorder when I was 8. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everyone. I like faked a seizure to get attention. I had a seizure and then I faked others to get attention because that was the only way I knew how to get eyes on me. So your question was like, how early does this start? And that was second grade. So like
very early.
Very early, I'd say.
Very early.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, our parents definitely shape our definition of success. Are they also shaping our success wound?
Yes, but it's not their fault.
Yeah, not on purpose.
No, not on purpose.
They're not hurting us on purpose.
Not on purpose. The question that I often get asked, I was just asked, is like, how do we help our kids, learn to achieve love to achieve while also loving themselves?
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers to that. I'm thinking about that a lot. I'd be curious for your experience. But what I have learned is that the part of the brain that is in charge with intellect and like studying and learning and memorization and stuff is not the same part of the brain that's in charge of like resilience and responding to setbacks. And often kids in high achieving environments only are working on that intellect part of their brain and they're not working on the setback part of their brain. And so maybe one thing that parents can do is focus much more on like resilience and responding to setback and creating meaning from setbacks rather than just focusing on achievement and intellect.
I agree. I see a lot of different parenting styles in my consulting work.
Yeah.
I help kids get into college. I'm a college consultant. But half my job is communicating with the parents. And I see many different models. I see the helicopter parent who are shielding their kids from any tiny, teeny bit of setback. We apply to 15 schools for a reason. The first rejection is like, how am I going to tell? How are we going to, you didn't. And I'm like, it's okay. There's a reason we apply to 15. They're not going to get into half of them, but this is their first big rejection.
Right.
And for a kid who's been protected from rejection their whole life, this is like the end of the world.
Right.
So seeing that, it's almost like a little foreshadowing. I try to make sure now, just with my son, my daughter's too young, that rejection is okay, failing is okay. Because I see it in my son. Even though we're pretty relaxed about it, he hates losing. His eyes gets teary immediately. So I'm working on that this is okay. It's part of the journey. There's no race, but it's hard. It's hard. So you work with a lot of, high achieving women. What are some common signs that you see that shows that they have a success wound?
Yeah, in my research, there are 5 types of manifestations of how the success wound shows up in work, but also in life. Because if you're this type in work, it probably shows up in other areas. So the first type is the grinder. This is the person who wants to have more, do more, be more. They measure their worth by the volume of their productivity. They get a high from checking things off their to-do list. I put things on my to-do list just to check it off that I've already done. Yeah, I'm so satisfied.
I do the same thing, just to have more things checked off.
Exactly. It's like, look how productive I am.
I did get gas.
Yeah, exactly. They had one of 2 experiences in childhood. One is they were naturally gifted and good at either athletics or school, and they became identified with that, with being the best, and so they never wanted to lose that. Now, the second type, and this is more me, the person who had to work twice as hard for half the results. And so they got accustomed to that grinding and the volume of output equaling measure of worth and success. So that's the grinder. Mm-hmm. The second is the hider. This is the person that is hard to spot because they're hiding in plain sight. They might look... Me too.
I was so surprised to see
it. Oh my God. We need to talk about this. Okay. So a hider is somebody who has big dreams for their life, big aspirations, but a fear of failure stops them before they can even start. Fear of financial insecurity, fear of being seen trying, fear of embarrassment. And tell me more. That's so interesting.
No, when I did the survey, I was so sure I'd be like, oh, I'm the grinder. I'll work hard, play hard. But I was hider and seeker. And I resonated with that a lot. It's two-sided. So I do have these really big dreams and goals. I have a coach myself who was a college friend of mine, shout out to Whitney Shapiro, who kind of brought this whole project out of me too. The fear of failure, but also in my case, I don't know how you would diagnose this, but I have a tendency to have these big ideas. I'm not scared of executing or taking the first step. I take the initiative. I start building something. And at the first glimpse of success, not failure, I give up. Why? It's almost like I'm like, oh, I put in 20% and I got this. What if I put in 60, 80? What if I put in 100 and this gets so big? All right, I'm done. And that's what I do.
That's fascinating.
And that's my weird hider bit, I guess. I don't know how you would interpret that.
That's fascinating. That's called an upper limit problem. Okay. Have you heard of this before?
No.
Okay.
Do tell me.
So it's our capacity to hold our success, our responsibility, our life is what limits us. You will succeed or achieve or accomplish what you're looking to only to the capacity that you can hold it. That's your upper limit. Okay. If you want to raise your upper limit to push past that, like, okay, I got the dopamine hit from the first little bit, the second little bit, but oh my God, what if this like really went? You have to do a couple things, and these are things in the book too. But you have to increase your capacity to hold it in your nervous system. So that point where you're the freak out, that's your nervous system being like, this isn't safe.
Oh God.
Right?
Well, how do I increase it?
Well,
we need 10 sessions.
Yeah, exactly. No. Buy the book. I'm curious about your relationship with like risk and failure, maybe the same way that you're doing with your son, getting people comfortable with going outside their comfort zone a little bit every day. So like micro-dosing risk. And increasing your capacity. Yeah.
Oh, how the things have changed. Now we're microdosing risk.
Microdosing
all right.
risk. Learning to trust yourself when you have 51% of the answers, not 99.9% of the answers. Okay. Is that one for you?
Yeah.
Because that increases your self-trust muscle. Because that voice could also be sounding like, I don't trust myself to hold this.
Okay.
Or am I not going to know myself after this happens, right? After this podcast gets so big, or after, I don't know, like I killed it. For me, it looks like, I work just enough, again, to get that B+, but like the A- might kill me. I'm scared of the overwhelm.
Yeah.
So I need to microdose stress, actually, in order to increase my capacity to be like, I can handle this.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Because I'm a hider too. Despite
this is so crazy.
Yeah.
I really, it was like a little awakening to see that and read that chapter. I want to go on a little tangent because I did a little bit work on this with my coach, and I had a little bit of like bullying in high school. Not like people were making fun of me, but there was an actual girl group formed. I was the valedictorian of my high school, and I was doing a lot. I was the president of a lot of clubs, and I was doing well. I was dating the hottest guy, and I think a group of girls kind of hated me for it. They even took out a page in our yearbook, and they did I didn't know what this meant back then. My friends told me later, and they did like hashtag INB. It's Nasla bitch. Like she does it all, sure.
Oh man, that's
I hope they're watching.
Yeah.
And my coach was like, I think maybe you're scared of that if you do more, that you're going to get that kind of a reaction. So that's something I've been working on. And she put a name to it. We call it Mean Girls. When I feel something like that coming to stop me, I'm just like, mean girls talking, mean girls talking. I don't know. That's where we're at.
Yeah, for sure. That it's not safe to be seen.
Yeah.
Who will I be and what will happen to me if I get to a certain level or if I shine too bright?
Yeah. And it's hard to put yourself out there too.
Oh, yeah. It sucks. Should I keep talking about the other types or should no?
Go for it,
Okay.
please. Talk about the other types.
Okay, so grinder, hider, pleaser. This is the person who is always wondering, are you mad at me?
Okay.
This is the person who wants to be liked more than anything else and gets professional safety from her colleagues, her boss, everyone being liking her. She probably has social anxiety. She probably has an anxious attachment style. And this is like the empathetic.
There are nods in the room.
Yes.
I know. Like, if with every category, we're like, yes, yeah, we
This
do
is
that.
the person who's like, I'm such a people person. I'm such a people leader. But then they're scared to give feedback directly because they don't want to make that person mad.
Yeah.
The other one is the seeker. So we all have a friend like this. They tend to spend their energy or their time on a spectrum of career confusion to full-blown existential crisis, maybe all in a day.
Yeah.
The person who's switching career paths, job hopping, coming up with a million different ideas. And it could be that they're also staying in the same job, but they have a million different ideas in their head. This is the person who has purpose anxiety. And they're like, until I find my thing, I'll be miserable until then. Like, I'm waiting for something to come and rescue me and find me, and then I'll finally be, happy, healthy, secure, fulfilled. You can imagine how that shows up in dating too.
Yeah. I'm a little bit of that too, apparently. I was equally hider, seeker, and work hard, play hard.
Interesting.
Like 3 each.
Yeah. Extroverted? Are you extroverted?
Yes. But I don't love it.
Okay.
I really miss having me time. Remember those days where you would just rot in bed?
Yeah.
No kids, no husband, nothing.
Yeah.
Just like you and your pint of ice cream and your reality TV show.
100%. Yeah.
I want one of those days, and I feel like I'm not going to get it for the next 15 years.
Do you ever travel for work?
Yeah.
Okay. And does it feel like that or no?
It not fully, because I'm still thinking about the kids. And I'm still texting like, oh, did you feed Ella that? Did River, go to bed on time? Like, I can't just fully let go unless it's my mom watching them with my husband.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the village, but
I had an experience that I was excited to talk to you about because I just went to the Bay Area for work on Monday. I say work because it was like an author dinner and I was invited.
Lovely.
And they're like, Bay Area authors. I was like, I could be a Bay Area author. I'll just fly up for the day. Community, connection. I was like, yes. And I've traveled. I went to London once for work and I went to New York once. And both times I left my son behind. Interestingly, both times he got sick. But I heard that's like, is that normal?
yeah, but it's also like they just know
Exactly.
the perfect time to get sick.
Okay.
They're just like, let me get sick at the worst timing for my mom
Yeah, exactly.
to have a full-blown breakdown. Yeah. They do.
Exactly.
They just know it.
Oh gosh. And my poor husband, like both times I've been gone, he's taken him to the emergency room. I was like, oh no.
I'm so sad about this,
Yeah.
but I'm also like weirdly relieved that it doesn't just happen to me.
Yeah, fascinating. I'd shared this with other people and they're like, oh yeah, that's a thing. I was like, okay, but so I'm on the plane from LA to San Francisco. I'm listening to a podcast about motherhood and parenting. And this woman, I mean, I guess it's controversial, but she's like, the mother needs to be the primary attachment figure in the first 3 years of life. Mm-hmm. And she's like, it's an inconvenient truth, but it's a truth. Working motherhood is kind of harming our kids, her words.
Okay.
And so she was like, it's in our capitalistic, individualistic society, it's like me, my career, my life. And of course I'm on a work trip and they're like, you shouldn't be leaving your kid very much. So, okay, so then she was like, it forms anxious attachment or avoidant attachment. And she said, here are 2 ways Anxious attachment is they're like, oh, they're clinging to you. Avoidant attachment is when you come back from your work trip and they look away and they don't look at you. I come back from my work trip.
Don't.
And Crosby, like, he wouldn't look at me.
But you were gone for like 1 day.
I was gone for less than 24 hours.
I think Crosby can handle that.
Okay, I don't know.
I feel like
I
the
started getting
podcast
so
talks
scared
No,
and like
sad. I think what she's talking about, if this is consistent.
Okay.
I think leaving your kid once in a while is healthy for everybody.
Right.
I believe that kids need to have more than one person who they're fully attached to.
Yeah.
They need to know, I'm not talking 20, but like at least 3. So they, mom, dad, or like whoever the parents are, maybe a grandparent figure, and then maybe their primary caregiver if the parents are at work, when they're at work, like our nanny. And I think that's healthy. It makes them social. Because I've also seen friends of mine where their kid would not calm down with anyone else but just them, and they were trapped. And they weren't happy with this. They can't go to the bathroom without the kid being at the door, like screaming and crying. Like no one else can put the baby to sleep but just the mom. And can you imagine how exhausting that is? And I don't think that's a conscious choice, but there are, I think, ways to go around it. And I think it's okay if we leave our kids for a little bit.
Okay.
I do believe that you need to have the right support taking care of the child. Though. I think that's true. I think I want to kind of talk to you about motherhood and work. I remember I was 6 months postpartum with River, my first son, and I felt so lost. I was happy until then. Everything was great. And I just was asking myself, what am I doing? Who am I? I've been obsessed with marriage like since the age of 14. Maybe.
Really? How so?
I think my aunt.
Okay.
I hope she doesn't. But like, you gotta find the right husband. He has to be like this. He has to be like that. The husband. Like, but I wanted to marry and I wanted to have kids. I wanted to be a mom. And once I got that, and it sort of happened quickly with my husband, like after we met, it kind of happened quickly because our wedding was canceled because of the pandemic. So we just had the kid waiting for the wedding to happen. So 6 months postpartum, I was like, okay, my biggest life goals are checked off. What am I going to do? And I sort of started therapy around it to kind of find myself again. Do you experience this with your clients, or did you experience this with yourself after becoming a mom?
I will answer your question, but because I'm a coach, I need to understand more. What did that feel like for you? You said I lost you didn't know who you were. Like what happened?
I think I was part-time working. I really wanted to work more.
I see.
So going back to that podcast, I didn't feel like myself if I wasn't producing. I would have one client call, and after it, I would be like, oh, I remember who I am. Like, I'm productive. I can offer something. I just helped someone. Maybe I changed this kid's future. I contributed to the society. I think that feeling is so important. Even a little sprinkle of it would make my day. And I think I wanted more of it. Even though I had help at home and I was working from home, I call this, like I started this patchwork career almost. I had multiple roles. After my therapy sessions, I added more on my plate. I could do more. And now today, I'm a consultant, I'm a teacher, I do this podcast, I'm a mom. And like the combination of those really worked for me, and I feel really aligned. But I think it was loss of, maybe this goes into, was this the pleaser? Like the esteem support I needed. I needed someone to tell me, you're contributing something, like you're doing something valuable for other people.
That makes a lot of sense. That is your success wound. It's that constant need to feel productive, useful by capitalistic standards. A success wound is not, I love my work. I want to connect with people and I want to be creative and move forward. That's healthy productivity. That's desire. That's from a different part of your psyche. Our success wound is the part of us that speaks to us when we're on maternity leave, laying on a couch, wanting to, for me, it's like, oh, I have to respond to an email, but my son won't nap anywhere but me. So I have to just be here, and learning to metabolize the anxiety of that and the voice that says you're not doing enough, you're not productive enough. For me as a self-employed person, it's like, am I contributing to the household financially? Those types of questions around worth.
I completely agree. And I think I've been working on that compartmentalization for a while because I find myself in impossible situations that I create. For example, like 7 a.m., my kids need me. I'm making school lunch while trying to respond to an email, and let me call Apple because they shipped my iPhone like somewhere else. And then I can't do it all, and then I get mad at myself. Then I start snapping at my kid, and then what am I doing? Like, what's the rush? And why am I trying to do these things at the same time? Am I trying to prove to myself that I can't do it all? I'm trying to be more mindful of that. What is reasonable? What is realistic? What is the right time for this? Maybe talking to customer service is not the best idea right now. But it's almost like I have this like mean boss in my head that sets these, deadlines and expectations for me. I don't have a boss. I also work for myself. I set it up that way.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have a boss.
I couldn't either anymore.
Function well under. Yeah. But why am I setting these impossible expectations and deadlines? And why am I getting mad when I don't meet them?
This might be related or not, but this is my question. Were you rushed a lot as a kid? Were you like rushed out the door, rushed to school, rushed to parties, rushed anywhere?
I wish I was rushed to parties, but no parties for me. But I don't think I was rushed by my parents, but I was rushed. Now that you're asking, I grew up in Istanbul, and I was rushed constantly because if I don't rush, we're going to hit traffic and I'm going to miss, this, I'm going to miss that. I'm going to be late to school. I think that's growing up in a very hectic city, but then my parents are both surgeons. And like my mom was the chief of ER with a thing that was beeping all the time. So she was rushed.
She was rushed.
She was definitely rushed. I don't know how she did it now looking back, but
there's evidence that shows kids that were rushed to activities, rushed out the door, rushed to school pickup, tend to have that same urgency. I'm behind. Time, obsession with time. I'm obsessed with time. If I'm like late somewhere, I'm freaking out. I have to be early or else I'm not well. And I also have to be using my time in the best ways. This is the best use of time. Even you setting up, you're like, okay, it takes 30 minutes to set up.
But yeah, it does. And I was out here at 10:30. Half an hour. Because if I don't show up half an hour early to like settle, I am late.
Yes,
I need my little time to like gather myself and like.
And that's that urgency. And we can move through life with that urgency and that obsession with like, am I making the most of this time, this life, this time? And so that then leads to trying to optimize, trying to do 1,000 things at once. And then we can take that, obviously we can take that out on our kids. So I'm like, I need to handle this for myself before I start rushing my kids everywhere. And of course, if you're running late, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, of course. But like, I've rushed my husband around for the last 10 years to no consequence. There's no consequence for me. Like there's no upside for me rushing us everywhere,
I also rush my husband and I rush my son. Even when there's no real rush, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to be more mindful. I don't want him to have the same sense of insane urgency. Yeah. In your book, you give examples of, I don't know if they're real client examples, and they're mostly women working corporate jobs, like the 9 to 5 or often 9 to God knows when. Do you think having a job like that is like fundamentally not compatible with the early years of motherhood?
I'll give the politically correct answer and then the answer that I think. I think that if you find the right culture and you have, the number one indicator for mothers staying in the workplace, especially in a corporate system, is flexibility. Being able, and more than flexibility, autonomy. Being in control of your time and your schedule and being able to take a meeting when you need to and decline it, move it around. Like having that level, people call that flexibility, I call it autonomy. Okay. And so that is what helps women stay in the workplace longer, trusting her to get the work done that she needs to and enabling her to have that, to call the shots. Now, I think with our current climate as it stands, March 2026, because things change so quickly, corporations are trying to do more with less. People are feeling squeezed. There's AI fear. There's uncertainty. And on top of that, Reid Hoffman said that the 9 to 5 will probably be dead in 2034. That was his prediction, that more people are going to move to freelance gig economy portfolio careers and be able to create and decide what they're doing for work based on their own strengths, hopefully, after the kind of AI dust settles. Now, I don't know about that, but what I do think is that provides an opportunity for women to create careers that make sense for them and for parents to create careers that make sense for them. I created this, I guess you could call it a flexible career, although now that I'm working for myself, and we can talk about, like, it's so weird. I'm having the success I've always wanted as soon as I had my son. And
That's so sweet. Tell me more.
it's sweet, but it's also terrifying because I want to be on the road like all the time.
I know.
And I can't. And so that's why this experience of coming home from this work trip and seeing him not make eye contact with me, I was like, damn. That was the first time where I was like, I get what everybody's talking about, because I used to be like, oh, the gold stars, I can make this work. People just don't have their shit together. They don't have priorities. They're not sure of their values, or they haven't made intentional decisions in their life. Almost like it's their fault that they, can't balance it all, which is not the truth, but that's where I was coming at this from. So it's not that having him has made me successful. It's just that I'm now at a phase of life where I've spent the last 10 years building this. And it takes 10 years to build something. It really does. And so now I have this book and I have all these opportunities and I have these speaking engagements all over the country. But it's like, how much can I really be away from him? I don't know.
Well, when he's a little older, you can take him with you.
Yeah.
Traveling becomes much easier. With two, it's hard now, but with River, we did travel a lot, though not for work. So I don't know. I don't know if you want to bring a child on your work trip.
I was thinking, my mom is very kind and very present, and she was like, oh, we'll just like go with you.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll try that.
That works.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though, the timing. So do you think becoming a mother had anything to do with the timing of this success? I know you put in 10 years of work, but do you think it like tapped into this, I don't know, untapped area of inspiration?
It's tapped into a more nurturing side of me. Mm-hmm. I wondered before I had him, my husband and I don't know how to explain this, but we'd always be like, this word sweet comes up a lot. Like you should be sweet to me, or be kind to me, or be tender to me. And I would always have the thought, like, maybe I'm not that sweet. Like, I don't think I'm a sweet person. So
just
does that make sense? I'm just like, I'm not really that sweet. Like, I say what's on my mind. Like, I'm kind of direct, a little sharp sometimes. Like, I'm not that kind. This was my self-perception. But now that I have him, I'm like, oh, I forgot that I actually am nurturing, and I am sweet, and I can drop everything, and I'm playful, and I like that side of me. And so maybe it's made me a more whole person, perhaps.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Again, reading your book, I realized maybe becoming a mother is what pushed me to finally confront my success wound, because it pushed my limits to such great heights. It puts challenges in your way that you never knew you could handle, but then it also forces you to prioritize things. Mm-hmm. So going back to like portfolio careers, patchwork careers, it was pretty clear early on that my husband, who works a corporate job, could not be the flexible parent, where I had this portfolio career, which made it so much easier for me to be flexible around my schedule. I could push meetings around. I could cancel my whole workday if I need to, if my child is ill or if the school calls. And I think, again, depending on your parenting preferences, you need to have that one parent who is a little bit more flexible, unless you have a very great village, which is also hard to come by in the modern world. My mom, you were asking about my stories on my mom. My mom comes to visit. You know, I grew up in Istanbul. My parents are on the other side of the world. Literally, it's a 24-hour travel day to get to them. When my mom comes to visit, she stays in LA for 3 to 4 months, which is life-changing. My life is really different when my mom is in town versus when she's not in town. Because when my mom is in town, I don't have to give anyone instructions. I don't have to give anyone directions. I don't have to cook lunch ahead of time. I can just say, have a good day, everyone. Slam the door and leave. Mm-hmm. Like, I had my second because of her. Aww. I wouldn't have another child if my mom wasn't going to help. I think it makes that much of a difference.
Also, it's so interesting because like research can be so like, you can find research to support almost like any argument that you want, right?
Yeah,
like, okay, listening to this woman being like, the mother needs to be the primary attachment figure. Her argument, again, I agree with it or not. Her argument, research backed, is that the mental health crisis we're seeing in young people today is because of working moms. That's her perspective.
We just can't win.
I know.
Can you just let us be?
I know. But then there's other research that says, to your point, as long as there's secure attachment across multiple figures, then that's helpful. And I have to think that that's the truth because that's how we were meant to, live and parent and be. So that's what I'm choosing to believe.
But think of it this way. My mom worked my entire life. She was always at work, at night too. And look at how close we are.
Right.
And I think I turned out fine. And I think I have a healthy relationship with her.
Yeah.
So I look back to the things she did right, maybe, or she did differently, maybe, or she paid attention to when raising us. She said, this is a little extreme. This is Elizabeth. She said every lunch break, she would actually come home from the hospital to take us to the park and then go back to the hospital.
Aww.
Or like when she came home at 6, that's it. No work. She's present with us for those like 2-3 hours. Every breakfast. She woke up every morning, even when we were 18, to help us get ready for school. So I think back to those routines and I'm like, okay, maybe those things helped, even though my parents were working all the time and she was always working so hard. I never felt like my mom was absent or that I was lacking,
That's
my
good.
first attachment figure.
That's good to know. Because I had the opposite. My mom was home all the time.
Okay.
And my dad worked. And my dad also pivoted his career because he used to be in venture capital and then he became like a consultant, basically worked for himself. And then he would always drive me to school and then he was always off by 5 and like home for dinner. So I remember really loving the fact that I knew my mom was always there. And that made me feel really safe and secure. And so I'm just like, okay, the moment when it's like you forgot your homework and you call your mom and you're like, can you drive my homework over?
Yeah.
I mean, but to that point, so I lived in a place called Los Altos and I went to school in a place called Palo Alto. And that's about a 10 to 15 minute drive away, which doesn't seem that long in LA terms, but it is in suburban terms. Like it was quite a few miles. So I'm just thinking, I'm like, I want a school that's like close to my kids just to make things a little easier. Maybe that would be helpful. I'm just thinking these things through now, even though he's 1.5.
No, you should. I think that's a really good idea. I was always an hour drive away from home. So there was, if you forget your homework, honey, you forgot your homework. Like no one is getting you that homework. Sorry. But my son, we walk to school. So he goes to our like neighborhood school, which is a pretty good school. We got lucky and it makes things easy. It does make things much easier if it's a 1-minute drive.
That's huge. I don't know what the study is here, but I heard the best school for your kid is the one that's close by. Regardless of that's what I heard, but I don't know what the source of his research is. It's like public, private. Well, the best school for you is
because they sleep more, and then you're not rushing out the door.
You're not rushing out the door,
and
you're not
there's
stressed.
more time for play and other things. Growing up in Turkey, and I still know this from my friends who are raising kids there. The kids, even like the 8-9-year-olds, are in traffic sometimes up to 4 hours a day.
No.
They wake up at 6. They're in the bus 6:20. They're at school at 8:20. Coming back, they hit rush hour because they go to the best school in Istanbul. And then I'm like, pull that kid out. Let that kid sleep. Right?
Yeah.
So
that's what I think. I mean, also, again, I went to the bougie, good school. They called it Stanford Preschool.
Yeah. I actually know which school you're talking about being in the industry.
And then
I'm
and then I actually went to Stanford Preschool. Like I went to a preschool on Stanford campus and we were observed behind a mirror like little...
No pressure, honey.
Yeah, exactly.
No pressure.
But I wish I went to the local public school because even though I got a great education, but I felt lonely a lot because my friends were so far away.
Yeah.
And so I was just like at home a lot.
No, I was the same.
Yeah.
We lived in the suburbs. At my school, Istanbul is 2 continents. So I was on the European side. We lived on the European side. My school was on the Asian side, literally crossing continents every day. And any spontaneous meetup between friends, I could never make it. Even in high school, I could never make it. I would always be like, okay, I'm too far. No one's going to drive me. I also felt quite lonely in that sense. And I hated that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of our success wound too.
A lot of parts. Let's see. We talked about this. Okay. This is an important topic I want to talk about.
Okay.
So in your book, you talk about, when we work ourselves through exhaustion, we're not aware of our success wound. In sometimes a corrupt culture, we get physically sick and chronically too. You talk about chronic sinus infections. I feel like I'm always sick too. Every other week. Not in the spring and summer when my work is lighter, but when it's fall and winter when I'm teaching, and it's application season, and it's also sick season, and I teach college students and they bring all their germs, and then I go home and it's the preschool germs from my son. I'm like a patronage of, the whole spectrum I bring home. And I know it's the sleep deprivation and the germs, blah, 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 but I think it's also the stress of trying to keep it together and to meet these impossible standards. What can we do before we reach that physical breaking point?
There was this really interesting study or report from Gabor Mate, who's like a physician. Most people know him. He said that women typically suffer from diseases of the tissue because they are the tissue of society. Have you heard this?
I watched this.
You watched
and
this.
I got goosebumps again.
Yes.
That's so true. Like the connective tissue.
The connective tissue. This is science. Our bodies pick up on more signals than our brain does. Our body is taking in 40 million times more signals than our brain is at any given time. So you can rationalize your stress away, but your body can't. And you can rationalize, oh, I'm in a job I don't love, but your body can't. And you can rationalize, I'm in a toxic culture. This is just what it takes to get ahead, but your body can't. And so that's just your body responding. And I brought up my husband just to say, when he left consulting, it took, I think, 9 months for him to fully re-regulate his nervous system and rewire his addiction to being busy, always on. We call it the second shift, the shift from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Like his nervous system is like just regulated now.
I'm glad, but it takes a while.
It takes
a
while.
The body keeps the score.
The body does.
Yeah. And I don't know how to work around it. I try to, add little routines in my day to help me relax, but I think that's why I really like the concept of the success wound. You have to be aware of it, and you have to find ways to treat it.
Yeah. I think as long as you are letting your success wound dictate your worth, meaning as that is going to be your upper limit. That's going to dictate your health. That's going to dictate how you speak to yourself. Genuinely so, because we live in a capitalistic society. There's no escaping it.
That's true.
There's something called effort moralization that I talk about in the book, where they did a study. This was out of UBC, University of British Columbia. And there were two guys, Mark and John, and they were both in a factory making widgets at the same rate of 4 widgets per hour. And Mark, for Mark, it was easy. He was just like making the widgets. For John, it was hard. He had to work twice as hard to get the widgets made at that. And people said that John, the guy who was working harder, had better character. They said, he's probably a really great husband. He's probably a really great father. He probably has great values and morals. We assign morality to effort. And so there are these things that we just need to be aware of, because there's no escaping it, where we tie productivity to who we are as people. So long as we're not aware of that, that's going to dictate our health too.
That is so crazy. But I think it also dictates our self-worth. Just because something comes easy to you doesn't mean it's worthless.
Correct.
It could be equally as worthy. And we can calm down.
Yes.
Could you tell us about aligned ambition? Because I think that's maybe a way to treat this success wound.
Yeah. So what I didn't know and discovered through the research is that our ambition is like a lamp. So our ambition is our drive. It's our creative force. It's our desire to do anything, whether it's to build a podcast or to build a family or to build a business or a spreadsheet, whatever it is. Our ambition is our creative force. Now it needs a power source. And there are only 2 sources of power for our ambition. The first is our success wound, and the second is what I call our true self. Our success wound is the belief that we're not enough. Our true self is the innate part of our psyche that does exist, that says I'm whole, complete, and I'm connected to something bigger than myself. We're hardwired for this. So psychologically, the self is a very real concept, and it's all of our capacity to be confident, clear, present, playful, all the best parts of us, maybe the parts of us that we are with our kids when we're playing or having a good time. From a neurological perspective, there's actually part of our brain that is hardwired for spirituality. And 30% of our capacity for spirituality is biological, and the other 60 is cultural. So in our brain, we have the capacity to feel at one with others and with something greater than ourselves. So my argument is that when our ambition is powered by that part of us, by that part of our psyche, our spirit, our brain, that's when fulfillment can happen. because all of a sudden we're making decisions that take into consideration our well-being, what we actually want, what's good for the planet, what's good for everyone else. So long as our ambition's plugged into our success wound, will never be fulfilled. The only path is for it to be plugged into this other part of ourself.
And how do we find this? I think you have a whole chapter in your book that I work through where you can come up with a little like mantra almost to remind yourself, why am I doing this work?
Yeah. The fastest way to align to ambition is through a couple different pillars or tenets. One is our values, so the things that we hold most dear. Another is our zone of genius. So not our strengths, but the things that we do most effortlessly where time expands. For you, maybe that's showing up on this podcast, like being chatty, engaging in interesting conversations, being hot, orchestrating everything.
Being hot comes so easy to me.
Exactly.
Thank you.
That's her zone of genius. But it's true. You're bringing all of yourself, you have camera for a reason and stuff like that. You're being creative.
Thank you.
Another is trust. So trusting in your own strength, trusting in the universe, something greater than you. Another is faith. So having faith that things will work out. And another is our core states of being. So how we want to feel most of the time. So what I've discovered is that I can do all the things to heal my success wound. Like I can attune to my emotions. I can tell myself that I'm okay. But unless I have a standard by which to evaluate my efforts, the culture is always going to set it for me. I'm probably going to look to others to be like, do they think I'm doing enough? Is this good enough? So an aligned ambition statement is a statement of like, what's enough by my standards according to those tenets. So I always say like, I measure my success by how much I'm connecting and how much fun I'm having. Yeah. So by that definition, I'm extremely successful right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Happy. So I feel like our listeners and viewers will resonate with a lot of the things we talked about today. If a woman realizes that they're working themselves to exhaustion, what's one thing they can change today to maybe take a step in the right direction?
So people who work themselves to exhaustion are more, there are kind of two parts of it. One's the mindset part that we already talked about. And the other is kind of like what you said, where it's like you have a million different priorities in one single moment. I need to make the lunch. I need to get us all out the door. And I need to call customer service because there's just not enough time, right? Time. So goals that we set in our lives naturally actually fall into hierarchies. So what I mean by that is people who typically have like one ultimate concern or one goal tend to be the most gritty, meaning the people who are able to persevere with passion and to get a lot done. So for example, I'm just using an example and then I'll bring it back to your question. If I were an athlete, Alicia Liu, right? The woman who just won the gold medal, right? Shout out. She's awesome. Talk about aligned ambition. Her intention was not to win the gold. It was to go out and do her best program. She said that over and over again.
I love her interviews.
I know.
So inspirational.
She was so cool. But she said, she's like, my goal is not to win the gold. It's to do that. So for people who are working themselves to exhaustion, it's probably because they don't have a larger concept of what their ultimate concern is. What are you actually here for? And therefore, and for me, that's an aligned ambition statement, right? As long as I'm having fun and connecting. So that's a really quick way for me to be like, if I'm working myself into exhaustion, I'm not living up to my ultimate concern.
That kind of ties into my next question. I think you just answered it. What question should ambitious women be asking themselves more often? Is that the question you would suggest?
I would say two. It's like, why do I want this? And is it worth pursuing? Whatever that is. The New York Times bestseller list, the podcast, the third kid. And then the second is, who do I want to be while I'm pursuing that goal? Identity is the most powerful force in human personality. The words we put after I am determine our behavior. So sometimes I think the identity of I'm a good mom can hurt us because our old ideas about what that means prohibit us from taking care of ourselves too, right? I'm a good mom means I sacrifice everything to show up for my family. I don't think that's helpful for people. So we need to update our definition of
I don't think we wrote those definitions back in the day either. It's just like having it all. Who defined all? What does having it all look like for you?
I think it just goes back to that aligned ambition statement, and it has to, because as long as I'm having fun and connecting, for example, this book will be successful.
Yeah.
It's funny you say having it all because I spoke with a woman named Dr. Corinne Lau who just wrote a book called Having It All. She's a behavioral scientist, I think I'm getting this right, at UPenn.
Okay.
And it's a great book and you should read it. I was like, because she just did a book launch, and so I was like, how did you do it?
Yeah.
And she said, I know this intellectually, but I was expecting her to give me tips and strategies and talk to this journalist and go on this podcast and yada, yada. She's like, your only intention has to be connecting with people, genuinely. Because if my goal is to be on the New York Times bestseller list, I will become a monster. I know that.
Yes.
I know that. And I'm being serious when I say I'll miss the whole I'll miss the whole point.
Yeah.
I'll miss the whole point.
Yeah.
So that has to be my goal, is connection, or else I will run myself into the ground.
Yeah. And you won't feel full. That's like your opening sentence. I love that.
Exactly.
I never feel full. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, as we wrap up, I started this podcast from the saying, it takes a village. It's like it takes a village to raise a child. In that sense, it could be vague. But for me, the village is the in-person help and support that makes my everyday possible. Who is in your village as a working mom of a 1-year-old?
My husband, he left consulting and started a drywall business. Did I tell you that?
No. Is
Okay,
that
yeah.
why I saw the
Construction stuff?
Yes.
Yes.
I was like, is there construction in the house?
Yes, there's construction.
Okay.
But we're not constructing. So he started a drywall business so that he could be a very equal parent.
I love that.
And that's how it works for us. So he is very present. Our nanny, Ruth, she's amazing. I have teared up thinking about the impact that she has on my son and giving him that secure attachment. My mom, she moved down from the Bay Area to Orange County, and it's been a joy to watch her be a grandmother. I know it's so nice to have her close by. My sister lives across town. She's a great aunt. And for me, we haven't talked about this too much, but I'm also sober. And so showing up and being like a member of a sober community is the only reason I can be a mom. And it's choosing to get sober 10 years ago. I did that so I could be a mom. Genuinely.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, we didn't talk about it. I read about it in your book.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
But I do love that.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do a little rapid fire.
Oh, gosh.
the super fun rapid fire to end a podcast episode. But don't overthink it.
Okay, just
they're
answer.
not. The second part is fun. This is like more serious.
Okay.
Rapid fire.
Okay. I've been ready. I'm ready.
Good. Which archetype are you most today?
The work hard, play hard.
Still.
Right. Oh, today,
No, that's good. Okay. I mean, no, but we didn't talk about it, but you were the work hard, play hard.
I was the work hard, play hard for a long time. I just feel like right now, because I am so in my work hard era with this book, I'm like, how can I blow off steam? So that's the honest truth. I'm not in my hider right now because I'm really having to be outside my comfort zone, which is great. But yeah, I'm work hard, play hard. I'm
How
gonna be
do
honest.
you blow off steam? I have here, it was the last item, but I'm going to ask you your guiltiest pleasure.
Oh my God. James, I mean, it's cliche, but like Real Housewives of Mormon, the Real Housewives, the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, podcasts, I guess those are kind of a guilty pleasure, if I'm honest, because it's just sometimes like trash, but yeah, podcasts, consumption of media.
Excellent. What is the biggest myth about ambitious women?
That they only care about themselves. I think ambitious women want to make an impact on the world, but I think it gets co-opted and it looks like it can look somewhere else. But I think everybody really wants to make a difference and like make an impact.
What is the most radical thing motherhood taught you about success?
That's such a good question. If it doesn't factor in my family, then it doesn't matter. Sad.
The most successful woman thing you did this week?
I just gave a keynote, and it was my first time giving that version of the keynote, and it went really well. So I was really proud of that.
Yay.
And then I got asked, I won't say the name of the podcast, but I shared this with you. I got asked to be on, I think, the biggest podcast in the world, to interview to be on the biggest podcast in the world. And I have had to I've had to prepare, but also practice what I preach more than any other time in my life.
And now you're on it.
Set you up for that one.
She made it. We interviewed her. She was great. And we were like, come on.
I know.
Okay. The most mom of a small child thing you did this week?
Oh, he was constipated and writhing in pain. Has your child ever been constipated? Crying. I had to stick a suppository up his butt.
Oh, you
and
did
it
that.
fell out on the dining room table. It works really fast. Sorry.
Fantastic. But that is a very mom thing.
Yeah, it
Yep.
is.
Congrats. All right. We're going to do a little this or that.
Okay. Ooh.
Control or surrender?
Surrender.
6 a.m. or 6 p.m.?
6 a.m.
Tell me more. Everyone
sure.
says 6 p.m. Why do you say 6
I
a.m.?
am not. My brain does not work after 4 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just a morning person.
Okay. Night out dancing or Netflix or chill?
Night out dancing.
It was not Netflix or chill. I'm going to ask it again. 3 things. Night out dancing or Netflix and chill?
Night out dancing.
Do you still get to go out and dance? Take me with you?
Not as much as I'd
Where are you
like
going?
to. That's like my happy place. That's when I feel most alive.
I do too, but I
miss
haven't
it.
done it in forever.
I know. I miss a good dance floor. They were
My
saying they need to
students
start.
should take me out.
I
Yeah.
know.
You guys should take us out. Yeah, they're down.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know where to go? I don't know where to go in LA. I haven't
know.
gone out that much. Like I moved here 4 years ago.
No, you missed the
right?
I moved here over 10 years ago, and I did go out the
Where
first
would you
few
go out?
years.
Like where was the spot?
Laurel Hardware
Oh,
was
yeah.
a place. Soho House. We did like exclusively every Thursday, Saturday.
Were
They
you
had
a
it.
member?
I was not
That's
anymore.
hot. Yeah.
It was hot,
It's
not
hot.
anymore.
Yeah.
That's hot, not anymore. Foreshadowing. Yeah, and I remember just, having some fun the
That's
first
so
few
fun.
years.
Oh, I miss it.
I mean, the nightlife was never super crazy here.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm missing
Have
the
you seen that
raves
meme
downtown.
where it's like, I have everything I want, but I'd give it all up for a night out in 2016?
For me, it was 2012.
Okay.
Like New York. Oh.
New York. Yeah, that's when I lived in New York too. Yeah.
Girl.
I miss it.
You got me nostalgic. Okay. Fancy coffee or fancy matcha?
Fancy coffee. I'm in a coffee vibe right now.
What does your fancy coffee look like?
La La Land.
Ooh.
So like a cloud, a little cloud on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found this I didn't find it. It's all over TikTok, but I went to it, Fairgrounds in Beverly Hills.
Oh, I saw that on
I
TikTok.
waited for 45 minutes
No way.
for the most delicious, like chicken Caesar wrap.
Yum.
And they have phenomenal drinks. That's actually where I'm
Yum.
going after this.
Are
It's a
you?
special treat if anyone wants to join me.
Oh my God,
please.
amazing. Have
we
you been
will
to
wait.
Leora?
That's next. I would need to have a
Insane.
frozen matcha or
It's
a
insane.
frozen so maybe I'll do 2 stops and treat myself.
Yeah, you should.
Where can people find you?
On Instagram, I'm Brooke V. Taylor. On TikTok, I'm Brooke Taylor Career Coach and brooketaylorcoaching.com.
I love your website.
Thank you.
It's so professional.
That's so nice.
Need some tips.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I loved this conversation.
So good. Thanks for letting me be part of your village.
Now you're here for good.
So Healing the Success Wound is available anywhere books are sold. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore. Support local. Buy this for your work wife, your sister, your man, even though there are women on the cover, and learn how to be fulfilled and like yourself in the process.
Yay! I loved it. I
Thanks.
I've read the book, and I will be keeping these, takeaways with me for a long
thank
time,
you.
I feel like.
Thanks. That means
Well, thanks
a
for
lot.
being here.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time. Bye.
Yay.
Bye. That's a wrap.
Wow.
Woo, woo, woo.
That was so good.
I loved it.
It was so
We
good.
could talk forever.
We could talk forever. That was
Can we
so
take
good.
some photos
Yeah,
before
thank
we
you.
move? Maybe let's stop the
good.
footage and use one of the profesh cameras.